Hey everybody, we just got done seeing the new Van Damme movie, Pound of Flesh. I'm actually a pretty big fan of the movies that this director has done with Van Damme. He also did Six Bullets and Assassination Games. I am a pretty big fan of Assassination Games. That was the movie that introduced me to Scott Adkins, who's done a lot of movies with Van Damme actually. And Six Bullets was pretty fun too. I have to say, out of these three, I do think that Pound of Flesh is kind of a step down from all three of them, and it actually had a pretty decent budget, $7 million.
Wow.
$7,500,000.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's
because
a decent budget.
honestly, to sum up I don't know about you, but at least my feelings of this film is script wise, I actually think this is pretty well written. I think it takes a pretty good setup for an action film, a low budget action film. And it actually takes itself pretty seriously in a way that you can take seriously. It has some good dramatic themes of forgiveness and, of course, redemption.
It can't really escape some of the tropes of action films.
Absolutely,
it's very predictable.
Absolutely, it's a cliche story, but it's done well.
Okay.
And I think what helps too is that one of the reasons I think it can help take the themes of this movie seriously is how good the acting is with the lead performers. I think Van Damme, as he has been with the past 10 years, delivers really well playing a very similar character that he's played lately, especially in Six Bullets and Assassination Games, where he just plays this washed out guy. But he's really good at that. He's found his character that he can portray well. So Van Damme was really good. I thought the actor that played his brother surprisingly was good. I thought at first he wasn't going to be very good, but I actually thought...
for the most part, I thought he was pretty good. Some lines, but for the most part,
the acting was pretty good. I thought they actually built a decent amount of chemistry together. And again, I thought from a script perspective, it has a fun setup for an action film. It has some good dramatic themes to explore. The biggest problem with this film, a lot of the stuff, it just wasn't very well made on some levels. On other levels it was, but the easiest way to put it is that the post-production on this film, the green screen shots, the digital effects, this is stuff that you expect to be low quality in a direct-to-DVD movie, but some of this was inexcusable. Especially for a $7 million budget, some of this green screen is just inexcusable. And Assassination Games and Six Bullets, they didn't have that problem. This movie seems to be shot on location in the Philippines, at least it looked like it was. And there is some nice camera work done there. Some of the second unit work is really nice. You get some nice shot of the Philippines and people in the city doing stuff. Like there's some nice stuff there. But then other scenes, there will be driving scenes where it's at nighttime and the green screen does not reflect well on the people in the car. There was one scene where they're at a nightclub, and most of it was fine, but there were a couple shots where they were clearly green screened in the nightclub, and you
could see the shimmer around their edges.
Yeah,
like that.
And the color correction was off too, so it made them stick out even more. So it was just some of that post-production stuff was just so amateur. And I was like, it didn't ruin the movie, but it damaged it. It damaged it because for a movie, like I was saying earlier, for a movie that takes itself seriously, for a dramatic action film, that takes you out.
It distracts you.
It takes you out of the movie because you are laughing at how poor it is. But with that said, honestly, with all that said, though, not all, but most of the action scenes I thought were pretty fun. There were a couple that were kind of lame. Some of the slow-mo was a little excessive. But with that said, there were some good action scenes. There were some pretty good choreography.
The villains were pretty awesome.
The villains were good. I actually thought the villains were really good. And one thing, to compare this to Six Bullets and Assassination Games, even though Van Damme is essentially playing the exact same character in all three of them, one thing that works is that it's really not the same movie. Like, each one kind of has a different topic. Like, Assassination Games is, about being an assassin. Six Bullets is about child abduction, and this one is about black market organ... stealing, whatever the term is. Yeah, organ stealing and selling.
Organ harvesting.
Yeah. And I have to admit, that's really not a top. Even though that's a good setup for an action film, you actually don't see that in that many action films. I mean,
At least
Crank
that part was
2, I
original.
guess, but yeah, that was kind of clever, and I think it helped that it was shot in the Philippines. I think that setting worked for that kind of setup more than I think it would have if it was in America. But but that was good. We found out the movie dedicated at the very end. It dedicated the film to Darren. I'm probably going to say his name wrong, but Darren Shalavi, who was the main villain. And this guy is a martial arts actor, and he died in January. And I actually thought he did a pretty good job in this movie as the villain. The final fight scene between him and Van Damme was really well choreographed and actually very well shot. You could tell it was kind of built around them two fighting, and they had a nice, fun action scene, a cool knife fight.
Kind of died anticlimactically.
A little anticlimactic, but at the same time, it was kind of unexpected, so I kind of liked it. But yeah, this guy died at 42, and we looked him up, and he's actually been in a lot of good stuff. He was in Ip Man 2, he was in 300, Watchmen, and I found out that he's actually going to be in the Kickboxer reboot that Van Damme and Batista are going to be in. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. Maybe he'll have a decently big part in that. So that's kind of too bad. But with that said, he did a good job. Mm-hmm. So I mean,
I loved his frosted tips.
Yeah, he had a really funny hairstyle. So I mean, putting it simply,
you mean sexy?
So putting it simply, much better than Vendetta, the last film we saw.
There's one other thing we have to talk about. I know it's not that big of a deal because it was only at the end and only for 2 seconds, but this child actor.
Okay, yeah, one of the...
Oh, what was that other film that we saw with that horrid child actor? What was that?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
There's a child actress that appears towards the end of the film. Like, she's there, her character's there throughout the film, but she's asleep throughout the film. She comes in towards the end and starts talking. Her line reading was so awful. I mean, even for a kid actor,
it's supposed to be a really serious part.
Yeah, too. It's supposed to be it's actually a very dramatic part.
Yes.
Because without giving too many spoilers, a main character is literally dying while this child is talking.
And we were laughing while this guy was dying.
Because her line reading was just so cardboard, just so bad. But with that said, I mean, thank God it was only that one scene at the end and not throughout the film. But, with that said, again, comparing it to Six Bullets and Assassination Games, it's definitely the weakest of the three. It was still entertaining enough. It's definitely one of the better direct-to-DVD films we've seen this year. The best one I'd say we've seen this year is still Skin Trade, easily. But I would say it's definitely better than Vendetta, better than Marine 4.
Absolution?
Better than Absolution. Aww. I am going to give it the win over Absolution. But
I can't believe that you would give Absolution.
Yeah. Would I recommend this? If you're a fan of Van Damme's direct-to-DVD films, yeah, I would say it's worth a watch. I would recommend Assassination Games a lot more. If you want to see Van Damme's recent work with this director, I would definitely recommend it more, but it's worth a watch.
I don't know, if you want to see some Van Damme booty.
Yeah, Van Damme shows his bare butt in this. He hasn't done that in a while. He used to do that all the time in the 80s and 90s, but it's been a while. He's looking good.
Yep.
The guy still looks good for his age.
Yep.
So, well, what do you would you recommend it?
If you're a fan of Van Damme, you'll enjoy it. If you're not, I don't know.
If you're not,
though, I feel like the only people that would even be interested in this film would be Van Damme.
Yeah, exactly. So, even though
it's like preaching to the choir.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I'm a big fan of his recent work, not all of his films are watchable. I started watching a little bit of that Welcome to the Jungle comedy that he did last year.
You told me about that. Yeah.
I couldn't get past 15 minutes of it. He was funny in it, but he's only a supporting character. Yeah. That was a horrendously bad comedy. But yeah, to summarize, I'd say it is a decent, average action flick, and I'd say it's worth the watch. So that's our review of Pound of Flesh, and thanks for listening.